For countless generations, the Indus River system has been a cradle of life. A home and a feeding ground for a multitude of creatures, some of them more shy than others. One inhabitant has taken 50 million years to evolve. This is the story of the Indus blind dolphin. In order to understand more about this rarely seen creature and how it came to live in the rivers of Pakistan, we need to go back in time, 200 million years, to the formation of the continents.
There was once an ancient supercontinent, and it lasted for millions and millions of years, but then finally began to break up. And as it broke up, fragments spread, and this triangular chunk that has now become India took off at the astronomical speed of 100 millimeters per year, which is really lightning speed for a continent. And about 30 million years later, it plowed into South Asia. And in doing that, it thrust up what is now effectively the roof of the world, the highest mountain ranges in all of the earth.
It was these new mountain ranges that 30 million years ago created most of the river systems in the subcontinent as we know it today. The Indus dolphins also owe their existence to this ancient collision. As the continents met, a portion of the Tethys Sea, the body of water that surrounded these land masses, was cut off. This newly formed artificial lake became home to an ancestral dolphin, but it was a very different mammal to the one we know today.
What's highly probable was that there was a dog-like animal with a long snoot and a fairly fat tail that made a living in these parts millions of years ago and found that it could make more of a living if it started to go into the water. So this amphibious carnivore had reached a reasonably advanced stage of development by the time the fragment of the Tethys in which our dolphins developed was cut off.
As our dolphin continued to evolve, it developed along very different lines to the marine dolphin, whose home was the open sea. The reason was habitat. Over millions of years, this cut-off section of the ocean began to dry up and was replaced by the Indus and Ganges river basins. The salt water from the sea was washed away, and the dolphins learned to survive in fresh but muddy water. There were, however, more challenges ahead.
One of the things that they had to face up with was that the waters about them became opaque. You could not see in them. So having big blue eyes like a classical marine dolphin is of no value. They had to develop an alternative method for navigating, for locating one another, and for locating their prey.
So in this muddy and silted water, the dolphins' eyes became virtually useless. Over generations, they shrank into little more than tiny slits, just able to tell light from dark. Without eyes to see, the dolphin developed a sophisticated sonar system, similar to the one used by bats. They emit high-frequency sound as they swim, the noise bouncing off surfaces and guiding them on their journey. Using this information, they can navigate through the water and find each other. It also developed a killing sonar to catch its prey. This new system is located in the lower jaw and generates a narrower, more sensitive and crucially more powerful sonar beam that helps them detect, stun and catch the fish they need to survive. Another major difference in the dolphins' new habitat was the depth of the water they were forced to swim in. No longer in the open sea, they had to learn to cope with a far shallower environment.
These dolphins adapted the classical whale or dolphin tail stroke for use in shallow water by rotating onto their sides. So whenever an Indus dolphin gets into very shallow water, it flips on its side and then it can use the full amplitude of its tail to drive it through the water.
Having survived and then adapted to these major changes in their habitat, the Indus blind dolphin was ready to call it home. The king and queen of the river, intelligent and at the top of the food chain. For centuries, the dolphin lived happily in this environment. But the time would come for it to evolve again, and man was driving the pace. The first major attack was the building of 6 barrages between 1932 and 1971, each one dividing the dolphin population into smaller families. Once they were free to roam from the fertile plains to the delta, but now they were imprisoned, forced to share the river as man encroached further and further into their habitat. They would have to learn a new set of skills if they were to survive their toughest challenge. The Mohanas, with their boats as their floating homes, have shared the river with the dolphin for generations.
मच्छी वाला गुजारा सारा भी काई चीज का नहीं मछली को सवा सारा गुजारा इहो ही दरिया दा पुराना शिकारियों सा दरिया ते पैदे फिर दे
Having lived with the dolphins for so many years, the Mohanas have come to respect the creature's place in their lives.
उन्हें दरिया च रही वदी रही दरिया च घूमती वदी सी अपने बच्चे नाल उनको क्यों पकड़ो सान साला नुकसान करें दिए कोई कि वसा पकड़ो बाकी प्यारी चीज है उन्हें जो ये प्यारी चीज है
With the Mohanas mostly living in the canals off the river, it's the local fishermen in the main stream who could have more of an impact on the dolphin's survival.
Just time पहले मछेरे होंदे हन पानी होंदे हन ज़्यादा अज तां चलदे पानी दे विच भी जाल पाती खड़न उस वेले जित्ता एक ढंड बनी होई आई ओहदे विच जाल पैंदे हन ढंड दे विच बुलण नहीं पैंदी ठीक आसिफ भाई आसिफ रोटी पक्की पईएगा है ना टोटा टोटा करते
पहले तो मारते थे ना खांदे थे तो मारते थे
हुन बस ये उते में दिए तले
उनको अचानक कोई मछेरा जाल ला लेवे को फंस लेवे असि तो ख्याल करते ना कोई चोर शिकारी ये डांड खड़ी है उसको जाली लाई रात को फंस गया तो वाला छड़ दे चोर शिकारी असि तो उसका ख्याल करके सारे जिम्मे
बुलहन सा साडा प्यार होंदे बुलहन दे नाल छो जे साडा असाडे बच्चे दा ही प्यार होंदे साडा ही प्यार होंदे बुलहन दे नाल तोनी पकड़ी पवे तो बसा छोड़ दे याद
सारा ताल्लुक दरिया दे नाल उसदा ताल्लुक दरिया नाल
Local legend portrays the dolphin as a water spirit, and as you journey down the river, people sing of the creature's mystical powers.
सोना सिंध साईं सोना सिंध साईं ते कुंवर मन के निम्ही द्रेस सिखी तेरे पानिया तू
Although the dolphin is no longer a source of food for local people, it still faces many other dangers. Man's intervention is sometimes required to ensure its survival.
मेरी सिंध वाइल्ड लाइफ डिपार्टमेंट में जो एंट्री है वो 1986 की है, तो उसमें सबसे पहले जो मुझे नज़र आई चीज़ जिसको इम्पोर्टेंस दिया जाना चाहिए वो इंडस ब्लाइंड डॉल्फिन थी। तो मैंने इस पे ज़्यादा फोकस किया और अपने गवर्नमेंट ऑफ सिंध को इसके बारे में ख़ास तौर पे एक याददाश्तनामा भेजा कि जी ये एक यूनिक स्पीशीज़ है जो दुनिया में सिर्फ हमारे पास पाई जाती है, तो इसको बचाने के लिए हमें कुछ रिसोर्सेज या कुछ फंड्स दिए जाएं।
During the monsoon, the rivers and irrigation canals flow full to the brim, but seasonal changes mean the water level reduces dramatically in the winter.
When the water starts to dry up, these dolphins start to penetrate into lateral irrigation canals where they live happily until such time that the tap is turned off and the water starts drying up. Then they die.
To save the dolphins, rescue operations were launched with the help of local fishermen. With no training, however, and little support, not every mission was a success.
हमने 95 से लेकर 2000 तक कोई 13 के करीब डॉल्फिन हमने रेस्क्यू की, जिसमें हमारे ड्यूरिंग रेस्क्यू 2-3 डॉल्फिन मरी भी। उसके बाद जब ये इशू मीडिया में ख़ास तौर पे हाईलाइट शुरू हुआ, तो बाकी हमारी जितनी सिस्टर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस थी WWF और IUCN, तो ये लोग वहाँ पे उन्होंने इंटरेस्ट लेना शुरू किया।
In January 2000, we went on the first rescue operation, and that's how I got involved. And I remember I was just sitting on the bank of a canal and recording the surfacing interval of a dolphin. And there was a time when the first time I saw the Indus dolphin, I just fell in love with that animal.
वो हमारे पास आए, उन्होंने हमारे रेस्क्यूज़ में पार्टिसिपेट किया और इस तरीके से फिर हमने UNDP पाकिस्तान को अप्रोच किया, जिन्होंने हमें स्मॉल ग्रांट प्रोग्राम से एक प्रोजेक्ट दिया, जो कि 2000 से हमने उस प्रोजेक्ट के तहत वो रेस्क्यू शुरू किए।
Individuals make all the difference. The engine is the local people. Organizations like UNDP are constantly on the lookout for those individuals, but we support them with financial, logistical and organizational work.
This backup was crucial, and with training and new techniques, rescues are becoming more successful. But they're fragile creatures, and danger remains at every stage of the operation. With little known about the species, every opportunity to learn more is taken. while also trying to minimize the amount of time the dolphin is out of the water. It's essential to keep the dolphin wet at all times. The drive can take as long as 3 hours, and the rescue team tries to keep the creature as relaxed as possible. Thankfully, the traffic noise is too low-pitched to upset the dolphin. The operation was a success, and with the support it's now receiving, the Sindh Wildlife Department returns around 30 dolphins every year back to the relative safety of the river. But sadly, man's continued interference in their habitat has left the dolphins with many more challenges.
Major threats to the dolphins are less water in the river, because most of the water is gone for irrigation purposes. The second thing is that I think presently the fishing practices in the river are very unsustainable.
As well as a seasonal lack of water and overfishing, there are more problems on the horizon.
Most likely large irrigation barrages seal off river and provide a sort of one-way wall through which dolphin can flush down but not swim back. And if you look at the dolphin distribution, what we see is a few between the uppermost two barrages and very many between the lower two barrages before we get to the area where there is a salt water. As soon as we get to an area where there is salt water is in evidence, there are no more Indus dolphins.
Even in the reserve, for agriculture practices, pesticides are used. All the chemicals as an agriculture runoff are going into the reserve. Any chemicals in the water, they will be absorbed by the plants or the microorganisms. Those microorganisms will be fed by fish. Dolphin is feeding on those fish species. So any effect of a chemical will be magnified by the time it reaches the dolphins, and this is called bioaccumulation. So top predators are indicators of health of an ecosystem.
As we learn more about the threats to the Indus blind dolphin, more is being done in a bid to reverse man's impact on the creature's home.
We are taking samples of water on a regular basis. We are taking samples of sediments, Indus dolphin prey species, and any opportunistic samples that we get of the Indus dolphins. We are going to get them analyzed to see what are the levels of toxic chemicals in there. And the other component of this project is to develop the improved agriculture practices and disseminate them into farmers.
As well as backing from large organisations like the WWF and the UNDP, it's the help of local people that could be vital. Adventure Foundation Pakistan is leading the way.
आज से तकरीबन 4 साल पहले UNDP और IUCN की हेल्प से इसको प्रोजेक्ट को शुरू किया गया। इस प्रोजेक्ट में है सेव इंडस ब्लाइंड डॉल्फिन। उसमें ये चीज़ें देखी जाती हैं कि यहाँ पे जो लोकल कम्युनिटी है उनकी हम बोट्स को यूज़ करें।
We are very proud that Indus Dolphin Safari and its rescue have been very successful in Pakistan, and it is a feather in the cap of Small Grants program, not only in Pakistan but internationally.
समझ तो जरूर आखिर उतो किने खर्चे कार करे आनन गोरे ता जहाज दी फ्लाइट ते उते आनन ना सही उन्हें तो खर्चा ज्यादा थिंदे आखिर फायदा आंदा है ता आनन इवें तो नहीं आंदे वो पुछदे ने खांदे ना सादे नहीं खांदे नहीं इनकी तस्वीर बने एक उड़े दन फायदा सरगाले है असा जो इतो घेन करे वेने वैसे तुम ऐसा निकम्मा खड़े रहे वेने जे तो वो अवसन तो साकू कशे मिल से इवें तो नहीं मिलनी ना।
And so the safari continues, with music and song well into the night. The research and slow understanding of this gentle and beautiful creature continues, and as more is learnt, the better the chance for its survival.
We involved the local boatsmen, made it profitable for them and the community members to conserve, to protect Indus blind dolphin, to create awareness about it among citizens, among people who travel on boats, among people who live on the river banks.
मैं इंडस ब्लाइंड डॉल्फिन का फ्यूचर देख रहा हूँ वो मेरे हवाले से काफ़ी उम्मीद अफजा है क्योंकि इस वक्त काफ़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो हैं वो इसमें इंटरेस्ट ले रही हैं आगे आ रही हैं इसकी प्रोटेक्शन कंजर्वेशन में.
After millions of years of evolution, the blind dolphin is going through a crucial period, and its survival could, in a way, be linked to that of mankind.
Dolphin used to exist in the Ravi. Sadly, our Ravi has even been classified as being one of the 8 most polluted rivers on the face of the earth. A lot less people would be dying of starvation if there were more dolphins around. Why? Because the river systems would be in greater shape. By the time the Indus dolphin returns to the Ravi, the quality of life of probably 18 million people, currently the number of people that live in the vicinity of the Indus River, would have improved substantially because the conditions in that river system would have been rescued.
I feel very positive when it comes to the future because it's just such a beautiful animal, and the feeling that this animal is our animal, it's found nowhere else in the world, it just gives you that passion to do something about the species.
It's all down to teamwork, global organisations and individuals working together for a common cause. The winners are not just the Indus blind dolphin, but mankind and the planet we live on.